What's up guys, this is Saiyan here coming at you with another Dragon Ball CCG deck profile today, and we're going to move away for a little while from set specific deck profiles, and we're going to look at a really cool ascending to the new level type of deck that I got ready for you guys here. So let's jump right into it and let's look at what our father and son Vegeta and Trunks combo can do in this particular setup. So starting with the 0-drop warriors, as I always do, we are running 3 Gokus. It's on color, it is definitely one of the best 0-drops, and it's Saiyan, which will be important to an extent in this particular deck. I'm also running 3 King Cold because we are running 1 Frieza to be able to search for. So if we start with King Cold, we can basically set up our turn 2, and we have a nice little support warrior in play for level 2. Yes, Frieza does cost 1 alien chi, but that is a small price to pay for a really excellent card to be in play by turn 2. And we're also running 2 old Kais, particularly because we want the extra support value, and also for the fact that we can recycle our discard back into the bottom of our deck. For 1-drops, I'm running 2 Trunks. It basically allows us to pick back into our hands a Super Saiyan warrior from our chi area, and you will understand why we need these Trunks if we get to the later drops that we run in this particular deck. Now, to be able to search for the 2 Trunks, I'm also running 3 Goten. It's a really solid 2-drop, and basically allows us to search for a Trunks, put it on top of our deck, and we can go from there. Now, you need to be careful when you play this guy. It can be a good little setup card, but more often than not, we will be using Goten to search for our 4-drop Trunks, which I'm gonna get to in a minute. But either way, as long as Goten is in the same team with the Trunks, he gets +1/+1, which is a really useful power, and it's valid as well. So even if he gets injured, basically his support value will not change, making him a really solid support warrior. I did of course mention Frieza already for our 2-drop as well, so I'm not going to go through that again. And we are running 1 copy of Broly, again, Saiyan. We will need some alien colored chi, and he's just a beater, he's really good, that fierce one can be useful. Basically he just goes out and smashes face in, so that's what we really want him to do. And then moving on to our big guys, as I said, the main idea behind this deck is that we are running 3 ascending to a new level. So what this card does is you really want to dig for this card, find this card. You are going to need this card for this deck to be able to run properly. And basically allows you to, either in an action or a strategy phase, we'll be using this in the action phase, reveal a Saiyan warrior card with a turn cost less than or equal to your turn marker, and you can switch that Saiyan warrior with an already in play Saiyan warrior with the same name. And he also gets a growth coin, and he keeps the Dragon Ball coins, which is really important. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be using ascending to a new level to shift our 3-drop Vegetas into 5-drop Vegetas on turn 3. And how we're gonna do this, you ask me, because this Vegeta has a turn cost of 5. What we're going to do is we're gonna make sure ascending to a new level is in play. Then we are going to play cross arm dive, which in the action phase will move up your turn marker by 2, but then you need to move it back by 2 at the end of your turn. But during the action phase we will have basically our turn marker at 5 rather than 3. So we may have played a Vegeta in turn 3, and then we'll play cross arm dive. What's brilliant about cross arm dive is it's only a 1 generic chi cost card, so it's amazing combo with ascending to a new level. And we will swap this Vegeta for a much better, much higher powered Super Saiyan Vegeta. He's also good because he gives us both chi. I was really thinking about running the 6-drop for a long time and running a 4-drop Vegeta, but the Trunks we run and we run the 4-drop Trunks, which is really good. It searches for an event and it puts it on the top of your deck. So if you didn't hit Ascending to a New Level by turn 4, what you should do is search for Ascending to a New Level with Future Trunks, and then draw that card up. And the best way to draw that card up, of course, will be using Burning Attack, which I also run 3 of in this deck, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But you might be wondering, well, what are we going to switch Future Trunks for? Well, we're going to switch Future Trunks for Super Saiyan Trunks. Exactly. So Future Trunks will give us the utility where we can search for an event, put it on top of our deck. He also has backup, and you can have as many of these guys in the battlefield as you want, which normally is something that I would very much enjoy. But what we're gonna use, what we're gonna do with this guy is we're gonna upgrade him to this future Super Saiyan Trunks. And if you look at the stats, actually they have pretty much the same stats, which is quite weird for a 4-drop and then a 6-drop. But what we're really interested in is what Super Saiyan Trunks does. Because if he has a Dragon Ball coin on him and you get an outstanding victory with his team, then you can look at all the cards in your planet damage and you can select one of that card and move it to your discard area. Now, then what we can do with that card is, of course, we can recycle it back into our deck with Old Kai. We looked at that guy earlier. And that is really important because it basically gives us a resource that, well, we can just realistically take the damage from our opponent, and we know that we'll be able to clear it off with Trunks as long as we can get outstanding victories in. And we're not going to run a huge difference in power. We're just going to run very efficient, very good pump techniques and just really obliterate our team with this guy, with this guy. So that's the idea. Imagine turn 3, you got a Vegeta down. You can just swap it for free then with a Super Saiyan Vegeta. Then turn 4, you play a Future Trunks, you search for an event, and then you swap it for free for a Trunks Super Saiyan. I do believe it is free. It should be free. Yes, you do. Move a warrior you control with the same name to your chi area. So it doesn't come back to your hand, it goes to your chi, which is great because then you feel your chi even more. So amazing stuff. Okay, so moving on to the techniques then, bearing in mind the warriors that we run. Of course, as I mentioned, we have 3 ascending to a new level, essential for this deck to be able to run properly. And we're also definitely going to need 3 copies of Cross-Arm Dive. The best setup, how to get into this game, is obviously if you have at least one of these in your starting hand and some sort of draw power, something that allows you to dig for these as well. On top of that, I'm going to move on to our pumps, what we run. We run 2 Proud Clan, which is a really strong pump, but there is a drawback to it. You need to move basically 1 damage to your planet. So you give yourself a damage, you move the top card of your deck into your planet damage area, and target Saiyan Warrior with a turn cost of 5 or more gets +3/+3 until the end of turn. You can do this either your own turn, your opponent's turn, it's just action. And it comes down for a generic chi, which is great again. And just imagine putting your Vegeta, for example. It doesn't really matter how you do it, because you get to the same number basically. You got a 9 power like this, you got a 9 power like this. But imagine you give Vegeta +3/+3, and then all of a sudden you got a 12 power already. And then if you get that outstanding victory, you basically shuffle the same card back into your deck that you just used with Proud Clan to give him the buff. So nothing lost, but you got a +3/+3 pump. And what's also really important, it being a +3/+3 pump, is that you can either give it to your head warrior or give it to your supporting warriors as well. And because you can use it in the action phase, you can use it as a reaction to your opponent pumping. If you know you're gonna win, don't do anything, wait for your opponent to do something, and if they pump, then you can pump as well. You don't have to be the one initiating this first. But also, it wouldn't be a complete Saiyan deck if we wouldn't be running 3 copies of Powerful Heritage. Just honestly, the best pump technique, certainly for running Saiyans, for 2 chi. your Saiyans basically get plus, one of your Saiyan will get +5/+0, because it's expert Saiyan, so on top of the +3/+0 they also get +2/+0, so amazing, very very powerful heritage, really good card, has to be run in any Saiyan deck. And then of course we are running Trunks. We're running many Trunks cards. We actually have 7 Trunks cards, so the likelihood of us having a Trunks in play and then being able to utilize the best technique in the game, which is obviously burning attack, is very very likely. Now I'm not saying you need a Trunks to run it, but certainly to get the draw card effect you want to run it with a Trunks. So for it to become a card draw engine as well, you want to use it with Trunks, but from turn 1 onwards we basically have access to a Trunks. Worst case scenario, you play a Goten, and then turn 3 you can play the 1-drop Trunks, or you play that Goten turn 3, turn 4 you get your future Trunks out. Happy days. It is just an excellent card. Also, what future Trunks allows you to do is, because you can have multiple warriors with the same name in play, you can play future Trunks having the little Trunks in play. The little Trunks will unfortunately leave the game because that doesn't have the same clause as this future Trunks, but it allows you to upgrade to a more powerful Trunks, even with having a small Trunks in play, which normally you couldn't do. You can't just play another warrior if you already have one with that same name in the play. But burning attack is just super flexible, really cheap, just does everything. I mean, you can remove events with it. You can -2/-2 your opponent's card. You can draw a card of it. You also can give out -2 turn cost, which can be super important in some cases. So I absolutely love burning attack, and it must be a 3-of in this deck. And last but not least, just to get the right warriors that we need for this deck to work, we're running 2 Z warriors together. Really good early game if you don't have the right warriors, because we're quite specific, so you might not be able to bring both Super Saiyan Vegeta and Super Saiyan Trunks out in like turn 3, turn 4, but you may have a starting hand where you have a Vegeta, and you may have a Super Saiyan Trunks, you may have a Z Warriors Getter. Then you can search for the counterpart of that card just by discarding a card, and you can search your deck for a warrior card with the chi color of the discarded card. So you might have, let's say you may have 2 Super Saiyan Trunks, future Super Saiyan Trunks. You can discard one and search your deck for a future Trunks. Amazing stuff. So this is the deck. I haven't done any playtesting yet, guys, but on paper it looks very promising. One of the learnings I took, because this deck has gone through a lot of different iterations, but one of the learnings I took whilst I was going through these iterations was that you definitely need a little bit more draw power, which you get from burning attack, and the Z Warriors Getter search is great. Not only that, but Z Warriors Getter also allows you to sack Z Warriors Getter, giving you an extra chi to negate any effects affecting your event cards that turn. And why is that important? Well, because you don't want to get your ascending to a new level removed by your opponent's effects. So getting out an early Z Warriors Getter not only will give you really good chances of actually getting the warriors out that you need, but you can also defend your Proud Clan, or you can also defend your ascending to new levels with. And on top of that, we have a lot of really good pumps to deal with our opponent's opposition, and I think this deck is going to shine. I would definitely put this deck, if it is in the capable hands of a player, to a tier 1, tier 1.5 probably. There's a lot of interactions going on here. It is definitely not the best deck that I've built, but it's definitely in that group of one of the best decks that you can play in this particular game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment below what you think of this deck. Will you be able to build it? I know it's difficult to get the cards. A lot of you are messaging me about it, but don't forget that this card game is over 10 years old. You know, it was 2009 when this game died, I think. It was 2010 maybe. And so it is very scarce to get these cards. I was lucky I got in quick, and so I have all these stuff. But anyway, guys, I'm just rambling about now. Leave a like. leave a comment below, subscribe, share it with somebody that you think will enjoy this game as well. And up until next time, Saiyan signing out. Peace out, YouTube.